Yeah, I know. Well, good evening. Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. We were just waiting for a highlights programme to be wrapped up that you can see later tonight on BBC Scotland. So, welcome to the Cooperative Funeral Care draw for the International Open in March 2016, which will be staged at Blackpool Newton Hall. So, without further ado, can I ask you to open your envelope? And you have in there the top 16. Make sure they all go in the pot. And if you can open your envelope, which is the 16 qualifiers. And then if you can both give them a good little stir. And how we're going to run the draw, ladies and gentlemen, is that we will pull out the top 16 player first, followed by the qualifier that they will play, and I will give you the match number that they're going to go into. So without further ado, if you can take your first one out.
Greg Harlow, seeded 10.
Greg Harlow is seeded 10, so he will go into match number 2. And the qualifier will be
Robert Chisholm.
That'll be a nice little match.
Mervyn King, seeded 8.
Mervyn King seeded 8, so he goes into the 5 to 8 slot. That will be match number 4. And he will get
Michael Cheeseman.
Michael Cheeseman. And yourself?
Jason Greenslade, seeded 12.
He will go into the next seeded place, 9 to 16, which is match number 3. And
Ryan Stadink from Canada.
And the next top 16.
John Price, seeded 14.
John Price seeded number 14. He will go into match number 6.
Kobe Hadar from Israel.
Alex Marshall, MBE, seeded 3.
Alex will go into match number 5.
Against Ben Twist from Australia.
Well, that'll keep Ben Twist happy.
Mark Royal, seeded 13.
Mark will go into match number 7.
Steve Halmey from Australia.
Stephen Howling.
Robert Paxton, seeded 4.
Robert Paxton seeded 4, goes into a fixed slot in the draw, which is match number 8.
Max Kander, USA.
Paul Foster, MBE, seeded 2.
Paul Foster is fixed place at match number 16.
Place John Fleming.
I just have a correction to make here. Alex Marshall is actually seeded number 3 for this event and is fixed at match 9. Okay.
David Gurley, seeded 6.
David Gawley goes into match 5.
And he plays the wild card.
The wild card has not yet been picked by the Cooperative Funeral Care.
Andy Thompson, MBE, seeded 5.
Andy Thompson will go into match number 12.
And he plays Ken Chan from Hong Kong.
Stuart Anderson, seeded 9.
Stuart Anderson will go into match number 10.
He plays Stuart Irwin.
Darren Burnett, seeded 7.
Darren Burnett will go into match 13.
And he plays Billy Jackson.
Jonathan Ross, seeded 11.
Jonathan Ross will go into match 11.
And he plays the player from New Zealand.
New Zealand have yet to play their qualifier for that event.
Nick Brett, seeded 1.
Nick Brett is seeded 1 and is in a fixed position as match 1.
And he plays Gary R. Smith.
Mark Dawes, seeded 16.
Mark Dawes will go into match number 14.
He plays Graham McKee.
Les Gillett, seeded 15.
And he will go into match 15.
And he plays Jamie Chesney.
So you both, with a bit of luck, shouldn't have anything left in your bowls.
Nope.
Nothing.
Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's your draw for the Cooperative Funeral Care International Open, which, as I said, will be held in Blackpool Newton Hall in March next year. And the full draw will be published in next week on the WBT website at worldbowlstour.tv. So just to run through that for you all, match 1, Nick Brett versus G.R. Smith. Match 2, Greg Harlow versus Robert Chisholm. Match 3, Jason Greenslade against Ryan Staddink from Canada. Match 4, Mervyn King against Michael Cheeseman. Match 5 is Mr. Gawley. He'll be against the wild card. Match 6 will be John Price against Mr. Hadar from Israel. Match 7 will be Mark Royal against Stephen Halmai from Australia. Match 8 will be Robert Paxton against Mr. Kadar from the USA. Match 9 will be Alex Marshall, MBE, against Ben Twist of Australia. Match 10 will be Stuart Anderson against Stuart Irvine. Match 11, Jonathan Ross against New Zealand, who have yet to play their qualifier. Match 12, Andy Thompson, MBE, against Ken Chan from Hong Kong. Match 13, Darren Burnett against Billy Jackson. Match 14, Mark Dawes against Graham McKee. Match 15, Les Gillett against Jamie Chesney. And finally, match 16, Paul Foster, MBE, against John Fleming. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps it up. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. And I remind you all that we kick off live tomorrow here at the Dewar Centre with the Cooperative Funeral Care Scottish International Open semi-finals. And also we have the Scottish Youth Finals and the Ladies Super Singles Finals. So it's a good day again tomorrow on YouTube. So thank you very much and good night to all.